Breaking news out of New Jersey. The mother who publicly called on the police and the public to help find her daughter is now charged with child endangerment. The turn of events coming after police found her teen daughter hiding out in New York after having run away from home. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Johnson outside the Essex County Prosecutor's Office in Newark with the breaking news. Anthony.
Yeah, we had told you at noon that there would be no happy reunion in this case, and that is certainly the case of what happened here this afternoon. Quite a turn of events. We had watched this mother over the last week or two as she would be crying on television, showing a tremendous amount of grief. Now that very same mother is facing jail time.
She's a good girl, please, please, please.
It is now starting to appear that all the grief and emotion shown by the teen's mother was not what it seems. Jamie Moore went public asking for help to locate her daughter, who went missing back on October 14th. The case drew the attention of the public, police, the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, the Sheriff's Office, and the FBI, until a break happened yesterday when the 14-year-old was found in Harlem on 111th Street. Once she talked to the NYPD, she revealed who she was and said she did not want to return home. This morning, the Essex County prosecutor called this a case of a runaway and said the 14-year-old had been in New York for most of the time she was missing.
We followed a route. It appears to be circuitous. She was in several locations, as far as we can tell, in New Jersey, ultimately, though, ending up in New York, where I believe she was staying in a shelter in Brooklyn, but she was ultimately, though, met with police uptown, I believe, in Harlem.
The 14-year-old had not been in school since it started in September. And while there were no cases being investigated by the state, there were concerns about her living arrangement in East Orange. Jamie Moore had even started a GoFundMe page, which raised nearly $10,000. Now she is facing 2 counts of child endangerment. Yes, and those charges do include physical abuse and neglect. Jamie Moore is 39 years old. This mother is now under arrest. That is the latest live from Newark, New Jersey. Anthony Johnson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Jashyah Moore, the New Jersey teenager who was found safe in Harlem after disappearing nearly a month ago from East Orange, New Jersey. Her mother, who for days called on police and the public to help find her daughter, now under arrest, charged with child endangerment. Antoine Lewis live in Newark with more on today's stunning developments. Antoine.
Essex County officials, Steve, were investigating allegations of abuse and neglect, finding enough evidence to take a mother into custody.
My daughter did not run away.
After repeatedly insisting her daughter Jashyah did not run away, on Friday, Essex County officials charged 39-year-old Jamie Moore with 2 counts of child endangerment after questioning Moore as to why her 14-year-old left home.
Obviously, this was an extremely resilient and resourceful young lady, and she decided that she wanted to be someplace other than where she had been, and she made it happen.
Jamie Moore reported Jashyah missing on October 14th after the girl went to a nearby store to buy food and did not return home. Surveillance video shows a man buying the items for her, and East Orange police say the two then went separate ways. Authorities say a Good Samaritan recognized the missing teenager in Harlem Thursday night, approached her, and then called 911. When she was found, officials say Jashyah had cut her hair in an effort to change her appearance.
She was in several locations, as far as we can tell, in New Jersey, ultimately, though, ending up in New York, where I believe she was staying in a shelter in Brooklyn.
Jamie Moore was routinely outside the deli handing out flyers in an effort to find her daughter. She even created a GoFundMe account to support search efforts. She posted a message Friday calling for more law enforcement action when children go missing. Investigators say Jashyah was not registered in school and that she and her 3-year-old brother will remain in the custody of county child welfare administrators for the time being.
I told you guys after I reported on this story yesterday that I would keep you updated, and I am happy to say that Jashyah Moore has been found. She was found in New York City, in Harlem, and they said she had been staying in a shelter in Brooklyn for the month that she has been missing. Now, according to news outlets, after Jashyah was picked up by the police, she did state that she did not want to return home. Her mother, Jamie Moore, has been arrested and accused of child abuse and neglect, and she no longer has custody of her 2 children. Police claim to have evidence of abuse and says that Jashyah has not been enrolled in school, which is child neglect. Rumors are swirling that Jashyah would stand outside the store and panhandle, begging for food and money for herself and her little brother. Now, I thank God that Jashyah was found safe and sound, but this story definitely has some holes and missing pieces to it. Now, I'm no detective and I was not there, but this story did raise a lot of red flags and questions when I covered the story yesterday. I wanted to be gentle and not blame anyone because, again, I was not there. I don't know these people at all, but this story did raise a lot of red flags. One being, why did you send your 14-year-old daughter to the store not once, but twice? A friend of mine made a point in saying, you know, maybe her mother said, go back, find my card, and don't come back till you find my card. Of course, this is all speculation at this point. We don't have all the details to the full story. I'm just addressing some red flags that I noticed in this case. First one being sending your 14-year-old daughter to the store by herself twice. Maybe the store was close by. She probably always sends her to the store, but we live in a very evil day and you just can't trust that sending your child by themselves, you know, you can't trust that they'll return back home safely.
But losing the food card was not the only thing the teen may have had on her mind. Jashyah's aunt says the girl's stepfather is an East Orange cop accused of domestic violence last year when the family was living in nearby Irvington.
I saw him punch my niece twice in the face.
They sent me the letter that it was going to grand jury.
And I think it's extremely convenient and coincidental that my niece goes missing a couple weeks later.
When we called the East Orange Detective Squad and then the chief's office about the case, we were directed to call the press officer at City Hall. We got voicemail.
My niece is a black Afro-Latina girl. You understand? When you're in a disenfranchised community like a East Orange, a chocolate city, there's a lot of, and I would say, ignoring of black little girls.
Now, the second red flag for me was that Jashyah's aunt actually witnessed her stepfather punching her in the face. So this man was comfortable enough to assault this little girl in front of her family. This was not the first time that he had laid hands on that little girl. But the aunt was the one who called the police. The aunt was the one who filed the report. The aunt was the one who got that man fired. I did not hear the mom make any mention about, yeah, you know, I called the police, I broke up with him. I didn't hear none of that. I did not hear the mom mention that man at all. No, he may be the father of the little boy. I don't know if he's the father, but this is difficult. You know, it's difficult because I don't want to accuse anyone of something that they did not do, but I just have to speak on the importance of bringing random men around your children, having children with these men, and them abusing your children, especially the ones that they are not fathers of. It happens all the time. Going off of the fact that Jashyah did not want to come home and the fact that she felt safer at a shelter, that does say a lot about the condition of her home. She was not happy there. She was not safe there, you know, and she probably didn't feel protected by her mother there. Red flag number 3 for me was the fact that they were so quick to arrest her mother and in the same breath, so quick to dismiss her stepfather, who is a former East Orange police officer, to having any connection to her disappearance. And so this does raise some eyebrows, and some people are saying, well, maybe he had something to do with it. You know, maybe they're covering up for him. Maybe they're trying to protect him and pin everything on the mother. Child, we don't know. We're just all speculating again. Another red flag was the GoFundMe. Now, I didn't necessarily understand what they needed money for. I'm not sure. I didn't read the GoFundMe. But if your daughter is missing, I don't necessarily understand how a GoFundMe would help. I just don't. You can let me know down in the comment section. Actually, I just thought about it. They did have a $20,000 reward for whoever, was able to find her. So maybe the GoFundMe was to go toward the reward money. Now, this wasn't necessarily a red flag, but I was curious to know, how does a 14-year-old girl check herself into the shelter? I do have some friends that work in social work, so I will ask them about that. But I don't know if a minor can just walk into a shelter and check herself in, no questions asked, And that leads me to my last red flag and question: who was that man in the store? Was that the man who helped her check into the shelter? Who was that man? Who was helping her? Who was hiding her? She seems to be very smart and knew how to get around. They said that she shaved the rest of her head so that she would not be identified, but she was identified in Harlem, New York. So you guys let me know down in the comment section. I know you guys are all relieved to hear that she is found. I told you guys I would keep you updated, and this is the update. Her mom is now in custody. She does not have custody of her children. This just took a really bad turn, but I am glad that she is at least physically safe. And if she is not safe at home, I do hope that they take her from her mother, and let this be a lesson to mothers that think they can just neglect their children or abuse their children. You can't. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comment section, and I'll see y'all at the next one.